In a move that has sent shockwaves through the global financial system, the U.S. Treasury has taken the unprecedented step of blocking a $70 billion loan initiative by China. This action, coordinated with key U.S. allies, represents a significant escalation in the ongoing economic rivalry between the world's two largest economies. The implications of this decision are far-reaching, with the potential to reshape global power dynamics and redefine the rules of international finance. The U.S. Treasury's move is rooted in concerns over China's growing economic and geopolitical influence, particularly through its ambitious Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI. The BRI is a massive infrastructure development project spanning Asia, Africa, and Europe. It's been seen by many Western nations as a thinly veiled attempt by China to expand its global footprint and challenge the existing world order. The U.S. argues that China's lending practices are predatory, saddling developing nations with unsustainable debt burdens and creating economic dependencies that Beijing can exploit for political gain. This move to block the $70 billion loan package is a clear signal that the U.S. is no longer willing to stand idly by as China reshapes the global economic landscape in its own image. The ramifications of this decision are likely to be felt far beyond the realm of finance. This action has the potential to ignite a new era of economic warfare between the U.S. and China, with unpredictable consequences for the global economy. At the heart of this financial clash lies China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI. Launched in 2013, the BRI is a sprawling network of infrastructure projects intended to connect China to markets across Asia, Africa, Europe, and beyond. Ports, railways, highways, and energy pipelines are just a few examples of the ambitious infrastructure projects being undertaken under the BRI umbrella. The scale of the BRI is staggering. Estimates suggest that China has already invested trillions of dollars in BRI projects, with plans for trillions more in the years to come. This initiative has been touted by Beijing as a modern-day Silk Road, a network of trade routes that will bring prosperity and development to countries along its path. However, critics argue that the BRI is more about geopolitics than economics. They point to the fact that many BRI projects are located in strategically important regions, giving China a foothold in critical trade routes and access to valuable resources. Furthermore, concerns have been raised about the lack of transparency in BRI lending practices, with accusations that China is using debt trap diplomacy to gain leverage over vulnerable nations. The $70 billion loan package that the U.S. has blocked was intended to finance a new wave of BRI projects. This move by the U.S. strikes at the very heart of China's grand strategy, potentially jeopardizing its ambitions to become the world's dominant economic power. The U.S. Treasury's decision to block China's $70 billion loan initiative was not taken lightly. It represents a significant escalation in the economic conflict between the two superpowers, and marks a departure from the previous U.S. approach of attempting to manage China's rise through dialogue and engagement. To effectively block the flow of funds, the U.S. employed a multi-pronged strategy, leveraging its considerable influence within the global financial system. One key aspect of this strategy involved coordinating with its allies, persuading them to restrict their financial institutions from participating in the Chinese loan program. Furthermore, the U.S. took steps to restrict China's access to international payment systems, making it more difficult for Beijing to conduct dollar-denominated transactions, which are crucial for international trade and finance. This move effectively weaponizes the dollar's dominance in the global financial system, using it as a tool to pressure China and limit its economic maneuverability. In addition to these measures, the U.S. also increased scrutiny on Chinese state-backed financial institutions, accusing them of lacking transparency and engaging in risky lending practices. This scrutiny has made it more difficult for these institutions to operate within the international financial system, and has cast a shadow of doubt over China's model of state-led economic development. Section 4. Repercussions for China, stalled projects and economic strain. The United States Treasury's actions have, dealt a significant blow to China's economic ambitions. The immediate consequence of the blocked loan package is the potential stalling of numerous Belt and Road Initiative projects. Without access to the necessary funding, many of these ambitious infrastructure projects could face delays or even cancellation. This setback comes at a time when China's economy is already facing headwinds. The country's post-pandemic recovery has lost momentum, and growth rates have slowed. The blocked loan package adds another layer of complexity to China's economic woes, potentially exacerbating existing challenges and putting further strain on its financial system. The move also undermines China's efforts to internationalize its currency, the yuan. Beijing has long sought to reduce its dependence on the United States dollar and establish the yuan as a major global reserve currency. However, The United States Treasury's actions highlight the limitations of China's financial system and its continued vulnerability to American pressure. Section 5. Collateral damage: developing nations caught in the crossfire. While the United States-China economic rivalry plays out on the global stage, it is the developing nations that were depending on Chinese loans for crucial infrastructure projects that find themselves caught in the crossfire. With the $70 billion loan package now frozen, these countries face a difficult choice: seek alternative funding sources, scale back their development plans, or abandon projects altogether. Finding alternative funding sources will be a challenge for many of these nations. Western lenders often impose stricter conditions on their loans, which some developing countries may find difficult to meet.